There we go. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Let's do it. So, counting down three, two, one, starting.
Hi, my name is Jennie Grau, and I'm with Grau Interpersonal Communication. And this is my colleague.
Hi, I'm Drey Taylor. I'm a professional in the field service industry.
And this is our second recording in celebration of the International Listening Association's International Day of Listening. This year, International Day of Listening is being celebrated on September 19th, 2019. And its theme is Be Bold, Listen for Common Ground. Drey and I already had one conversation where we spent some time looking for what we have in common, just sort of in general, and to kind of think about what was that like and how did it feel. This time we've been asked to have a conversation about a topic where we may have some mild disagreement and maybe some similarity, and just explore what it's like to listen to each other and see where we end up on this issue. So I think we decided we were going to talk about workplace challenge, right, Drey?
Workplace challenge. You had mentioned that you had some personal experience with your son,
Mm-hmm.
who was talking about challenges in his workplace, and that was a good thing. It's something that I really connect with. I think workplace challenge is something that we should incorporate instead of trying to find ways to ease our burden. I think doing challenging and tough things every day makes us better people. So that's something that I've actually purposefully tried to introduce into my daily life, is doing something hard uh,
Mm.
every day, like taking a cold shower. I don't want to take a cold shower. I never want to take a cold shower. But
Wow.
at the end of the shower, I'm going to turn it to cold because you know what? It's hard. So
Wow.
I view like workplace challenge similarly. You know, I want to be challenged and I want to be stimulated, because if I'm not, I feel that maybe I'm regressing or not performing at the level that I'm capable of, and that just makes me sad.
So for you, challenge is synonymous with growth and stimulation. Yes?
Well, you just said in like 5 words what I was trying to blab about. Uh, So yeah, you perfectly summarized how I feel about it. Yeah, I equate challenge with growth. Absolutely.
So that's interesting. So what Chris was talking about was similar, right? My son, who was started us off on this topic, he felt that if he wasn't growing and being stimulated as a software developer, that he wasn't learning anything, and that he wants to learn new things. I have a slightly different experience of the word challenge, and it may have to do with what the word means to me. So for me, I don't like too many challenges. I find sometimes I can be overwhelmed if there's too much happening all at once. And yet the modern workplace is pretty intense. So when for example, I'm not a great driver and my vision is not really great. And so when I get in a car in a new location and it's a rental car and it's a new car, I feel like I have like all of these new things that I have to absorb to keep me safe and the people on the road safe. But then I also have new roads to drive on, and new highways to figure out, and new places to go. And so sometimes I can feel kind of overwhelmed and overloaded. However, if every day were the same all the time, I think I would burn out pretty quickly. There's a certain amount of variety to life that is important for me in order to feel stimulated and alive. And because I work with different clients in different locations and in different industries, and every time I'm in front of a group, it's a different group of people, I think I get a lot of that variety in just the nature of my work. So adding extra layers of that is not always something I seek out, although cold shower, interesting. I'm a big lover of warm water. I could see what cold shower is like.
They're horrible.
but there's something about the fortitude that comes. Is it the pain experience that is what you enjoy, or what is it about cold shower if they're horrible?
Well, so yes, They are horrible. If anyone says they're not, they're probably just trying to lie to themselves. Um, but there's supposed to be some health benefits, and whether or not that's placebo or not, I'm not sure. But I do know that it doesn't kill me, and it's something hard, and it's something where I have to prep my mind. I have to think about it. Look, oh, now this is the time where I turn it to cold. Do I want to do that? No. Should I do it? Maybe. It's this process that I go through in my mind, and it's whether or not I have the discipline to stick to what I said that I was going to do, or if I take the easy road out.
So it's sort of like exercising your muscles for self-determination.
Yeah, in a way, it's part of my exercising kind of the discipline muscle. Am I going to get up early and work out?
I can definitely relate to that. In that regard, accepting the challenge or inviting the challenge as a way to stay sharp. Mm-hmm. I get that. I very much get that. And in fact, it makes me think of some of the literature on flow, right? When you're in a state of sort of like suspended time and you're totally invested and totally engaged in your work. Musicians call it jamming, and the sports people call it being in the zone. The business world tends to call it flow. But what I love about those moments, and I certainly do seek those out, is that the work is challenging. It's not the same old, same old. It's a little bit more than I normally might do. It's a little bit of a reach. And in that regard, I find that exhilarating.
Nice. I think you're seeing things in a similar way that I do. I love trying to seek out the flow state, and I also seek out ways to push myself just a little bit more than I had before, right? Because that's how we grow. Again, challenge to growth, right? So working out, we're breaking down muscles, and we're trying to get maybe one more rep, right? To push a little bit past our comfort zone.
Yeah.
And when we come back the next time, guess what? We can do that a little bit easier. So that growth and that development, for me, that's what's so satisfying about challenge.
And when you said the word comfort zone, it clicked for me. Yes. So I really do value getting comfortable being uncomfortable, right? And so if that's what you mean by challenge, being able to accept and sort of become normally, kind of create a state of normal for being a little bit like, maybe not, it's not all going to go my way, or maybe it's not the way I expect it, but it's going to be okay. And being able to come out on the other side of that. I do find that to be a particularly valuable space to grow. I wouldn't have thought of it as a challenge, but you're right. I could certainly describe it as a challenge. And so, yeah, this has been interesting, Drey. I'm thinking we're coming up on almost 9 minutes, so let's take a minute to think about what was it like to think that we were coming from different places and then sort of end up doing this?
Yeah, that was interesting. The conversation for me was somewhat challenging, nature of the word there. And it was challenging for me because I'm trying to think about and clarify my feelings on something that it feels rather complex on how I approach these ideas of, what is challenge and what does that mean to you? So for me, it was challenging trying to really articulate that, but having someone on the other side working it out with me was comforting. So it kind of evened things out a little for me.
So the listening made it less challenging?
I think so. Certainly the person on the other end and their receptiveness absolutely plays a role in how I would be able to articulate something like that, especially on that topic. I noticed it was easier for me to talk about the have you been to Hawaii? That type of conversation.
From our last one, yes.
This, now we're getting into a little bit of a hairier, more maybe even philosophical conversation. And
Mhm.
some of the ideas and concepts are difficult to communicate and relate. So having the other person with a bit of an empathetic ear is nice, and kind of helps calm you down to think it through.
Well, and you really, by sharing your perspective on this, gave me an opportunity to think about, well, maybe I'm a little more challenge friendly than I thought. This comfort zone thing and getting comfortable being uncomfortable, I never thought of in terms of challenge, but I suppose it could easily be construed that way.
Hmm.
And the idea of having a mindset toward growth and enhancement and stimulation and new things, that does align with me. So maybe I'll have to look at things I'm labeling as challenging and have to take a second look at them.
Excellent.
All right. Well, thanks. I think we've done a reasonable job with this topic for today. I invite people to try to listen for common ground, even on subjects where you may not originally start in the same place. You may or you may not find common ground. You may or may not end up agreeing. We have never had this conversation before, and it was kind of fun to just explore it together. Happy International Listening Day.
Thanks, Jenny.